Hi, I'm Adam. Welcome to Roll or Die, a channel dedicated to all things tabletop. Today, we are doing a Gaming Essentials episode and we are focused on the game Skull. Skull is one of the best pure bluffing games ever designed, and I think it should be in your collection. This will build out any collection beautifully, and it'll let you see just how good and how devious your friends are when it comes to bluffing. Let's take a quick look and see how Skull plays. In the game of Skull, everybody has the same components. You have a platter or mat, and you have 4 discs. Everyone has the same discs and the same quantity of these discs, which are 3 roses and 1 skull. Now, the designs are different between the players, but again, the components are the same, with each player having 3 roses and 1 skull. The goal of this game is to bid. You want to tell the other players how many discs you think you can pick up without hitting a skull. Skulls in this game act like a landmine. Now, the order of play is always the same. At the beginning of the turn, everyone looks at their hand and secretly places down one of their discs, either a rose or a skull. All players do this. Once this is placed, the first player will then have a choice. They can choose to play another one of their discs or start the bidding. In this case, the player will place another disc, and they will all do the same. Now, on this turn, the player decides he's going to open a bid. He'll say he can pick up 2 discs without hitting a skull. The other players are thinking, because here's the trick to Skull. No matter what you bid, you have to start with your own platter first, meaning you have to pick up all your own discs before you can pick up from anywhere else. The problem is, if you're bluffing, and you've placed a skull here, and you end up as the highest bidder, you've skulled yourself. And we'll get to what happens after that. So we'll say this pink-orange player has bid 2. The next player bids 3. That's too rich for the purple player's blood. So he says he passes, and he pushes his mat into the center. At this point, pink feels very lucky, and they're going to bid 4. No other players match, so now it's pink's turn. I say pink. It is orange-pink. I don't know why they went with those colors, but they did. So it's this player's turn to pick up 4 discs. And again, as we mentioned, he's got to start with his own platter. He's halfway there. Now this is where it gets tricky. He's got to look around the table and figure out which discs he thinks is safe. And a lot of this is based on the bluffing we talked about. He knows the blue player was bluffing 3. So maybe chances are good that at least the top card is a flower. And maybe his other one is too, but he's not sure. He just needs one more flower here to win. And he thinks he's going to go purple. And there it is, what typically happens in Skull. He didn't hit his bid number, so he takes a loss. When you lose, the player who gave you the skull gets to randomly pick one of your discs and remove it from the game. That means the other players don't know if you've lost a flower or a skull. Game then proceeds back to the way we saw it. Everyone's secretly putting down 1 disc, and then the phase begins again, where players will either place a disc or start the bid. Now, to lose a game of Skull, if you run out all your discs, you're out. To win, you need to correctly hit a bid. If he had bid 4 and managed to pick all 4 up, he would be able to flip his platter over to the silver side. 1 more win, and he's won the game. So it's just 2 correct bid pickups, and you're the winner of Skull. Now, I hope you'll see that in this game, it really comes down to bluffing. A lot of times, you will want to maybe place the skull lower. Maybe it's your first one and down in the pile, and you're bidding. But you know you don't want to be the high bid. So you have to be careful. You want people to come to you thinking, well, he was bidding, so it should be safe to play over there. So if someone bids 4 or 5 and they go right for your pile, eventually they'll hit that skull. So we'll come back and we'll go over our final thoughts on this game and why we think it's a gaming essential. Okay, so you've now seen how Skull plays. It's simple. It's just these discs, you're bidding or playing, and the real magic comes in when you have to make that decision point. Are you going to add a disc or are you going to start the bidding? And again, the bluffing is magnificent in this game. You're going to be looking at your friends, opening your bids, and you know you're bidding. And you also know you don't want to win because you've put a skull on your platter. So how do you trick your friend into bidding higher? How do you sell your confidence that you think you can pick up 6 skulls in a row, and you know you've got a skull on the second disc on your platter?
And this is where it comes to everyone looking around the table. Some of the best moments in gaming have come from Skull, as my friends, have looked around and they have to make that decision. They've already cleaned their platter. Where are these other 3 discs, or however many they have to pick up, going to come from? There's just heightened drama as they reach and pull and reach and pull. And then bam. They've either won the game or they've pulled a Skull and they're down a disc. Now, another intriguing factor with Skull comes just when you lose these discs, because what if you lost your Skull? What if you are literally defenseless? When are your opponents going to notice that you haven't played a Skull in a while, maybe because you don't have it? Do you play it smart and hold it back and hope that maybe they think you really don't have your Skull anymore? Or do you just have to go for it? You know that you're playing your flowers no matter what, and you got to keep bidding and trying to navigate this landmine, because again, it only takes 2 victories to win the overall game. So your opponents can't let you just keep bidding. And that's the beauty of Skull. It's so simple. There's literally 3 rules, and you'll just play it again and again. Now, the box is an incredible value. You get 6 player sets in it, and if you buy a second box, you go up to 12. There's another box with different art. You saw the art from the characters. There's a different colored box from Asmodee that has different Skull platters. You can play this to 12. I've never played that high, but I don't see theoretically why it wouldn't work. So there you have it. Skull is, like I said, one of my favorite bluffing games, a perfect thing just to put into any collection, and I think it's a gaming essential. So thank you for watching Roll or Die. This is part of the Pod 6 network, so make sure you like and subscribe so you get all the content that Pod 6 brings to you on a weekly basis. I'm Adam. Thanks for watching.